So now I'm just going to guide you through each and every step of how my mind was working when I was trying to automate this workflow, basically automate my release notes that I have to roll out every 2 weeks. And of course, I used ChatGPT for this. I created a project where I was just giving out some prompts, and based on those prompts and the previous information, ChatGPT is going to help me with creating this automated workflow from scratch, which again, I'm going to repeat myself. I had no idea what I will be working with. So I let ChatGPT deciding for me how this workflow is going to look like, because I have never worked with make.com before. And before we move on to how to set up this entire workflow, I would like to present to you my portfolio, where I also share information about myself, a few contacts, case study, and I think this is what might be useful for you, like my PM vlog, where it's under construction, but I create different articles about AI and just PM related topics. The article about this specific workflow was the AI tasker for release notes is here under my AI agents projects. So just go to attempt number 2. Attempt number 1 is going to tell you what went wrong. And I'm going to pause here for a while and tell you this. I was stupid enough to trust ChatGPT. And so far, I don't even know when ChatGPT tells me confidently, this does not work because Google Drive scopes are restricted for gmail.com accounts. I have no idea if this is true or false. So I need a real human being to actually confirm what ChatGPT tells me. Is that me not knowing how the platform works? Is that platform not really working with this connection? Or is that ChatGPT actually hallucinating? So sometimes I don't even know. So it's all based on ChatGPT responses that it provided to me. So I'm not sure how accurate this information is actually going to be. And here's my attempt number 2, where I describe a certain workflow, which is basically Telegram plus Deepgram for speech to text, ChatGPT to refine, Google Sheets as my database, and Google Docs to store the new release notes and refined by me as a human. If you scroll a little bit below, you will see the pink highlighted text, which means this is where something went wrong. And this was my observation on what went wrong and what my suggestion might be to you, so that you don't face the same problem as I did, because I have already investigated what was going on. So let's review this one by one, where I'm going to tell you how to create a connection to a certain module. But before we do this, let's actually register on the platform that's going to serve us as a no-coding platform to create a workflow, which is going to be AI-driven, basically ChatGPT-driven. Go to make.com, just type it in the browser or ask ChatGPT to find it for you using the new functionality here, search in browser. And go to this link, and I use single sign-on, so I sign on with my Google account, and that's what I'm basically going to do. And so far, it is going to open you this view, and you will be like, okay, so where do I go next? What do I do? You need to create a scenario for your workflow automation. And what I'm going to do, I will click here, scenarios, but you can click here, create a new scenario, which is going to create you a brand new blank page where you can start off with your scenario. I already have one. That's why I'm going to show you first how it looks like. So this is the scenario. What you see here are circles, and you wonder, what the heck is this? And those circles are basically your modules that you create manually yourself, and then you set up the connection to a certain tool, and then you tell this module what it has to do with this specific tool to pass over or pull out the information. And you can see that my very first trigger is going to be Telegram bot. So we would need to create a Telegram bot with you. Well, we need to go to Telegram. If you guys have it, I don't know if you don't register an account. I think this messenger is being used by many people. And you need to go and try to search for a certain bot. It's called bot fodder. And this is exactly how you do that. Type it in the search field. Now you need to tell it what you want to do. You need to create a new bot. So new bot comment. It's going to ask you, how do you want to call the chat? What is going to be the username for the chat? So basically, it's going to look like this whenever you create it. It's going to take you approximately 30 seconds, I guess. I'm going to tell you, congratulations on your new bots. You will find yada, 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 yada. And then there is an HTTP API token that you are going to use as another HTTP connection to make a request to pull out this voice message that you're going to create as a release note that you're going to dictate to Telegram. So just store it somewhere secure. So you need to select the Telegram bot, and then you need to tell what comment this bot is going to do, and it's going to watch for updates. Then you need to basically press on the circle and choose a hook, which means connect your Telegram bots to make.com. For that, I already have a bot connected. What you need to do, you need to say add, then you need to say add again, and then you need to create a connection name, which is going to be pre-populated for you, and put a token that you got from Telegram bot I was just showing to you before. Save, and it's going to create a connection like this. I'm going to delete this one. Delete module. Yes. So it's going to create a connection like that. And now you can add another connection, which is HTTP, which is going to have make a request action. So HTTP, make a request. That's what you need to select. Whenever that's done, you're going to see the circle again. You press on the circle, and you need to set up the connection to the Telegram bot as well. So what you need to do, you need to set up the URL, which is going to look like HTTPS. I'm going to provide that all in the description in the instructions. So you set up this URL and you say that the file is going to come from, let me show you how it looks like. It's going to open you this list, and you need to find the message ID. Here you go, message ID, press on it, and it's going to be populated automatically as a label of where we look into. So we basically are looking into Telegram message ID. And then we say method is get. And that's all what you need to do. And you need to parse the response. Don't forget to say that as well. So the most painful part for me is that half of my video did not have my voice on it, so I will have to re-record it. So I'm going to look slightly different. But anyways, I'm still going to provide you with all the information. So we stopped with you at this HTTP request that's going to get a file ID from Telegram. What you need to say to this HTTP, like between these connections, you need to say that has to be only voice file. How do you do this? You press here, it's going to look like this tool icon, and then you should tell that the condition is message.content.voice, and then the basic operator is has to be exists, and then you can label it whatever you want to label it. I decided to make it only voice. So moving on to the third module, which is again HTTP make a request, and this is a request that's going to have a URL as well. Again, my PM vlog is going to tell you more about how this URL should look like, but basically what you need for it is the same bots API token from Telegram, and you would need to tell it that it has to look into the file path, because we got the file ID, but where exactly is the file located? We would find from the file path. So we go to the previous HTTP request, go to data, results, file path was the .oga file. Again, you just press on it, it's going to get pre-populated for you. When this is done, we get into another HTTP webhook request, which is going to be connecting to Deepgram. Deepgram is a voice assistant, which is going to help you basically get that file, transcribe that, and make it a text file. So that OpenAI, aka ChatGPT, can work with the text. So you need to get to deepgram.com. I'm going to log in because I'm already signed up. You obviously are going to have to sign up. I use single sign-on again. Whenever this is done, you need to create an API key. So for the API key, you need to press this green button. Again, I have mine, so I don't have to recreate that again. However, I would need to tell you that whenever you create an API key, that is going to be the only one time when you see this token. So make sure you copy paste it somewhere safe, same as you've done with the Telegram API token. It has the expiration time, meaning it has time to leave. And for example, if we look into speech to text, which is another service which does similar things as Deepgram, it's sets by default 1 month time to leave for the token, meaning you would have to go and recreate the token every month and post this new token into your make.com integration, which we don't really want to do. So that's why I got Deepgram. I love it because I can just say never expire my token. When the token is created by you, you can go and say, this is the URL. Again, you're going to find that in my instructions. The method is post, name is authorization. Then you put the word token, and then you paste the token next to it. You need to say that the body type is raw, content type is custom, value is audio/OGG. And then you need to request the content from the previous HTTP as data. So from this file ID, you just use this data here. And say parse response, yes, don't forget that, because I forgot that first time and it didn't work out. And then save. I had to switch to another microphone that was out of battery and I didn't even notice. So hopefully now you can hear me better. So we are going to create another module, which is going to be OpenAI, so that we can connect with ChatGPT and create a completion prompt GPT and O1, O3 models. This is what we're going to use as an action. Whenever this is done, press on the circle. It's going to open you this pop-up. Create a connection, press add. Connection name, it's going to get pre-populated for you, but you can set up any name you want. Then add the API key here, which you are going to use as an OpenAI API key we created with you before. Now, sorry, I'm just going to close that. If it's not, again, pre-populated for you, select something from the dropdown, this connection that you have just created. GPT/3.5/turbo is the one that you need to use as a modal. Now you need to create two messages. What it means, you're going to be a user and an assistant in ChatGPT, meaning a user is you. You are a user role, and you need to use the transcript that is coming as a text format from Deepgram. So you need to use the Deepgram connection, which is basically this HTTP, and then you need to go to data, results, channels, alternatives, transcript. This is where you're going to press on, and it's going to select whatever's on my screen now. And then you need to create an assistant, which is your ChatGPT, and you need to give it a prompt. So I'm going to share the prompt on my blog article, and you can select this as a prompt. And every time ChatGPT runs this transcript, it's going to use this prompt, which you can sometimes, whenever you feel like it's not working on your transcript properly, it's not refining the text, you can actually adjust this prompt right here in make.com. And then just press save. So now you can move on to creating your database. And the database is ideally Notion for me, because Notion is something that many organizations are now trying to implement and integrate into their processes to store all the documents and use it as a wiki instead of Confluence, which many people from before, like a few years ago, were using more frequently. So now it's Notion, and I use Notion for almost everything I store as my personal data. So I was thinking I should use Notion, but then I couldn't really connect to Notion. So I'm describing that in my article, what kind of problems I faced when I was trying to connect to Notion. And basically it was asking me for some data format for the title column, which is a must-have for the database in Notion. And for example, it was asking for some user ID phone and client ID, which I completely had no idea where it was coming from. I was trying to recreate that a few times. I was trying to see if people face the same problems on Reddit. So I couldn't decode and I couldn't solve the problem myself. I need a human to help me resolve this. So I decided to go a faster way and just create a Google Sheets and add the rows there. So I'm going to show you how I created that. It actually took me 2 minutes to do this. So I just created a database with different columns here. I have given them the names, which is date, version, transcript, AI summary, which is my ChatGPT release notes, and status, which I need to use for my further integration with creating a Google document. So you can add as many rows as you want, and you can basically map them through make.com Google Sheets, add a row connection. So in here, you would need to connect to your Google account first so that make.com knows where to connect to whenever it needs to pass the information further. One takeaway from me, I could not connect to my personal Gmail account. So whenever I press add and it tells me sign in with Google, whenever I was trying to connect to yada, yada, yada at gmail.com, it didn't let me do this. So it was telling me basically because of some security blockers, I couldn't connect to my personal Gmail. That's why make sure you are using a business Gmail account if you face the same issue. A business Gmail account is something like yada, yada, yada at yourcompanyname.com. Whenever the connection is established, then go and select the drive, spreadsheet path, then the sheet name where your database is located. Mine is sheet 1, which is usually used for each and every default name for the sheet for any Google Sheet document. So for the next step, you would need, it would pre-populate all the columns that it's going to find in your Google Sheets. And what you need to do is you need to do the mapping for the fields. So one of my columns is date. So what is going to be the date? I actually selected it as no. Just press on no, and it's going to pre-select it. Then this is not transcript. So whenever you see this issue, look, it tells me that my column B is transcript, which is actually not. My column B is version. So what you need to do is you need to refresh. How do you do this? Refresh. Okay, perfect. It's fine now. So version is either a hard-coded name, which can be v.1.0.myname, or it can be v.1.0 now. Same now as we have just selected from before. This now. How do I open this screen? How do I open this pop-up, by the way? I just press on the field and it opens automatically. You can close it or you can pre-select something from here. Then I need to select where does the transcript come from. So the transcript is coming from Deepgram. So what I need to do, I need to get here and I need to find my Deepgram HTTP connection and then go to data, results, channels, alternatives, transcript, press on transcript. It's going to pre-populate the entire label. Then AI summary. So it comes from my ChatGPT assistant. ChatGPT is this connection, which is green. Then you select choices, message, and then content. This one, present content, pre-populates the label for you. Then status, I need that to always be draft. So I need to be draft to be selected in my database, basically this draft, so that my next connection works properly. And my next connection is also Google Sheets, but it tells me search for a row so that the Google Doc is created. And again, I need to establish the connection for this module as well. I need to select not the connection to Gmail, to Google Drive, but the connection to my path to the database. And then the next thing you're going to see here is query. And the query should say, select everything where the column E equals draft. That's what I'm telling it. And I say save. And after that, I tell it, and then whenever that's draft, create me a Google document. And then I'm telling it the name of the Google document and the content, which is basically an HTML formatted code. And I'm going to share that with you as well. You're going to have a look to see how it's going to look like. You can just copy paste it. You can apply some other formatting to that. You can ask ChatGPT to recreate the content. So I basically just copy pasted that from ChatGPT. And I select the drive and I select where exactly my Google document is going to be created. So this is where I'm telling it to be created. So I have a certain folder. This is the path. Here we go. This is how it works like. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to take my phone and create a voice note in Telegram, run the script, and I'm going to show you how it's going to create a database query and how it's going to create a file, which is basically Google Docs. And since we work with ChatGPT pretty often, I work a lot with ChatGPT. What I've done now is I'm asking ChatGPT to create release notes example for me based on my company's industry, because it knows where I work and what I do and what kind of services we provide. And based on the previous knowledge about me, ChatGPT is basically going to take it all, and I'm asking it to just create any release note this chat can come up with. And ChatGPT tells me, okay, sure, since your background includes automotive marketplaces, inventory systems, and AI-driven automation, here's a fictional but realistic release note example for a company in that space. I'm like, sure, thanks. And it creates me a huge release note. I'm not going to read it out, like not all of it. I'm just for the sake of testing, I'm going to read a voice. I'm going to create a voice message and read out loud just the first feature. Okay, here you go. AI-powered VIN recognition. We've rolled out our new VIN scanner that autofills vehicle details using OCR and AI modal integration. Sellers can now simply scan a dashboard to add a vehicle in under 10 seconds. Send. We go back here and we say, sorry, this one's not. Run once. It's going to ask you whether you want to wait for the new data or use existing one. I'm going to say use existing one because I have just created this voice note. It's going to use my last voice note. This is what it does. It runs all my modules one by one in a chain, and then it tells you if there was an error. It's going to show you a red circle, and you press on it and it tells you what kind of an error you faced. It's all done, so I can go where to my database and see if it was decoded. And yes, it was. What it did is created me a date, a version, a transcript of the entire note that I created, and then the AI summary. And since the status is draft, it should have created a Google Doc for me as well. Let's see if it did. And wow, it did, but I had to reload the page. Okay. This is the document it created for me. It pre-populated the topic, the header, the date, and the summary that is coming from this column and row. Ta-da! The integration is done. And now if you guys want me to create more integrations, or you have a certain integration you want to work on, but you don't know how to do this, let me know, post it in the comments on LinkedIn. And I'm going to try to create this new integration from scratch using ChatGPT's brain, my personal brain, Reddit, and other sources that I can find, maybe even people who work with make.com that I know personally. I would have to go and talk to them, and probably they're going to help me whenever I have an issue. And ta-da, I created this integration myself. So I only used ChatGPT, my brain, and nothing more than that. Okay, yes, Google as well, of course. So one conclusion that I made: when you create a prompt for ChatGPT, make sure the prompt is really full. So you add all the information. For example, who you are, what you do, why you're creating this integration, what kind of integration that should be, what kind of an issue you're trying to solve, any other details. For example, I want to use only free subscriptions for the entire integration, because one of the ways it led me to was I needed to pay money for a subscription at make.com, which I don't want to do. I want to use a free subscription. So make sure your prompt to ChatGPT is extremely full. It provides all the information, so the ChatGPT actually starts searching based on all the parameters you give to it in the prompt. Another takeaway is ChatGPT is hallucinating, and it's hallucinating very confidently. So it will tell you, sure, this is what you need to do. Just go and follow this instruction, and then you're going to come up with the entire workflow. And then I follow the instruction and it fails. And I'm like, bro, but it failed. And it tells me, you know what? Yes, it did fail because it doesn't work with your private space on Notion. And I'm like, okay, I need to recreate the database. And now I need to try to connect to Notion again, recreate the module. Like, it took me 3 days, which I thought it's just going to take me an hour, because I was sure ChatGPT is confident. So I should be confident and I should trust ChatGPT. So do not trust ChatGPT. Try to follow what it tells you, but be sure and be prepared to the fact that ChatGPT can provide you with a confident response, which is not going to work. So hit the like, put some comments, repost if you liked it. Let me know your thoughts. It's just my first video. I just wanted to interact with you through the video, because I think that just posting some text is not always going to work. So video is way better. And you can see who I am, what I do, how I do that, how my thought has been structured in my brain. So happy to provide you with more videos and